All right. So, next update, crime breaking news is okay. So, this is pretty disturbing. But this is body cam footage that I just ran across on the Daily Mail. It was posted November 25th, so just yesterday, of body cam footage of Jordan Rivera, who is a 19-year-old teenager in Florida. He had just gotten into a horrible car crash, like terrible. He's literally covered in blood. And the body cam footage is a police officer walking up, and as he's walking up to the scene, there is Jordan sitting on the sidewalk with a female officer, like, telling him to sit down. She's got like her hands on his back. And then he like gets up, and then another cop is like, sit down, sit down. And he goes and helps her get him back down sitting. And he's saying, I can't breathe. His nose is broken. And he's saying he can't breathe. And the cop's like, yeah, just breathe through your mouth. And he gets up again, and he gets up again, and then he gets combative because all of the police officers, like when he gets up, are on him. Like there's like 3 or 4 of them that are on him. They're twisting his arm behind his back and stuff. And you can tell he's really out of it. Like he's bloody. He was just in a horrible car crash. Apparently he was driving on his way home from a fishing trip with like family, and they're like, he's out of it. He's hurt badly, and they're treating him like a criminal.
Yeah. I was sitting here thinking about that. It before they started this, did they have a reason for arrest? Because I don't think anything like that should happen. I don't think a cop should have touched him. Who cares if he's pacing? Who cares if he's standing up? Those are all things we're allowed to do as citizens.
I didn't even mention the horrible part. Like so they're twisting his arm behind his back, treating him like a criminal. And then he gets up, and they're doing that. And then they get him back down, and then he gets up again. And this time he kind of gets away from him just a little bit. And they're all on him, and he pushes 2 of the officers. And then the officer with the body cam on tases him. And when he falls, he hits his head on the sidewalk. His head literally bounces off the sidewalk, and he's just crying like the whole time this is going on. He is sobbing and crying and saying he can't breathe. And they officers jump on him right away as the guy's tasing him. He's down on his belly, and I counted at least 4 it's at least 4, if not 5 pulls of that trigger, which is a 5-second charge. Every time they pull that, it's 5 seconds. You know what the standard is? That if you go past 15 seconds of tasing, there's a greater chance of complications. Yeah. And this kid flatlined and was in a coma after this incident.
There's no regulations around tasers. We've covered multiple stories with that.
It's the recommendations, though, is that if you go longer,
not regulation.
If you go more than that, you're risking death.
Right.
And you're risking complications. And on top of that, like police officers are supposed to take in account, like I was looking all this stuff up, all the recommendations from the companies and stuff. You're supposed to take into account the seriousness of their offense, their current state, like the fact that he's injured is a major issue in this, and he's filing a lawsuit, which I think he should.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he should. I have a hard time looking at this because I see both sides of the coin here, where if you take away if you take away the whole scenario and just look from the point where he pushed a cop, he laid his hands on a cop, that justifies the taser. So like, if I'm just looking at that, I get it. But then when you look at everything before, like, why did the cops let it escalate to that? I would want to know, was he suspected of breaking the law, and were they planning on charging him? Otherwise, who cares if he's sitting or standing? That is not a cop's decision to make. If I get in an accident and I want to stand up, shut your mouth. I'm going to stand up, otherwise do this to me and then I'll have a lawsuit against you. It's either you detain me or let me have my freedoms to stand, sit, walk, pace. You know what I mean? Just because he's standing up does not mean that he's running from them.
Right. And from all accounts, from what I have seen, and this is Monroe County Sheriff's deputies in Florida that did this, that handled it in this way. But from all accounts, I have not heard, like, because I was thinking, was he drinking? Is this like a DUI incident? Is there anything added to it, like you were saying, where they thought he had committed a crime? Because in that instance, I understand it better.
Yeah.
Than just this innocent 19-year-old boy who gets in a car crash and you're trying to force him to sit. Which think about getting in a car wreck and being injured. A lot of people would have this adrenaline and he's delirious on top of it. Like he may just need to stand up and walk.
Yeah.
Like, and I've done that. I have definitely paced after a car accident before because it's all this increase of adrenaline and fear and what the hell just happened, or oops, what just happened, it's all of that. So, and he's young. Yeah. Has even been in a car crash before. What was going on in his head? Like, I need to know all those things. And if he was drinking or if he wasn't suspected of a crime, this should not have happened.
I agree.
Period.
I agree.
I think that makes a really big difference in my mind. He's only 19.
Yep. I mean, to me, the age doesn't even matter at all. I don't care if you're 19.
No,
I don't
you're
care
right.
If
you're right.
90. Either you're arresting someone or you're not. And if you're not arresting them, then they have rights. And just because they aren't doing what you want them to do in that situation doesn't give you the right to treat them like that as an officer.
So this is horrific, but he had brain swelling. He was rushed to Mariners Hospital in Tavernier. But he needed an emergency tracheotomy. Okay.
Tracheotomy.
Tracheotomy. That's how you say it? Okay, thank you. And he also had to be resuscitated 2 to 3 times, is what it says. Like, he straight up flatlined and went into a coma and had to have a tracheotomy. Like, his life was in danger.
Yeah. Because of what the cops did.
But he was in the hospital for like 5 days, is what it says. But I think he has a serious suit on his hands here.
Yeah, because what initially started that's what I was going to say. If I just look at the assault on the officer, but then going back, like, where does it start? Because they would have to claim resisting arrest.
Yeah, you're right. They would
and
have
he
to.
wasn't under arrest.
No, he was not. He did not have cuffs on. They were just telling him to sit, which I assume he was not suspected of a crime, telling him to sit was to keep him from standing up because he's hurt. Like, when you are hurt,
make it worse.
and then you make it worse.
Jeez.
That's what I'm assuming is he's got blood all over him. They don't want you standing up when you're hurt, but you don't force it like that.
Yeah.
You don't force it like that.
Yeah. I agree.
Because they were treating him like a criminal. But, I honestly, the body cam footage is really, really hard to watch. It's on the Daily Mail is really the only place I could find it. But it's just really sad. And if he was not suspected of, there was no crime, no suspicion of a crime. It says right here. I didn't see that part. It's at the end. But that's what it says in the lawsuit. Because they have the documents on here too.
Got it.
But he's gonna win. He's gonna win.
I agree.
And he should.
I agree.
But I want to know what you guys think. The recommendations around tasers, if they followed them, you would never see stuff like this. You would never see it because they're not supposed to use a taser like this. They're not supposed to pull the trigger 5 times. They're supposed to take into consideration de-escalating it. Can words work better than force? Is this person injured? How, like, all of these things, like, they're never supposed to do it with cuffs on.
Yeah.
all these things they're not supposed to do, yet we see it time and time again.
Yeah.
Because they're allowed that freedom.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, they shouldn't be.
No, I agree. I don't think they should be able to have those freedoms.
No, it should be very clear cut. This is when you can use a taser. This is when you cannot. And if you use it when you cannot, you're in trouble because you're literally risking somebody's life.
Yeah, I agree.
You're electrocuting somebody.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. So